In this lesson, we're going to create a couple of articles in Joomla and actually publish them to our website. So that should give you some good encouragement that progress is being made here on our series of lessons. Let's log into the back end and let's go to create an article. And when you want to add a new article, perhaps the easiest way to do that is just to click on this large icon here, add a new article. Now, when we talk about articles in Joomla, they are really more containers for any type of content that you want to add. It's not just restricted to text. When you hear the word article, you think almost like a word processing document that is basically, or usually, typically only words and text. But the article, the Joomla article, is also where you can add photographs, you can add video, and with the help of certain third-party plugins, you can add all sorts of charts and graphs and image galleries, catalog items. There's just really no limit to what you can put into a Joomla article. In this first lesson, we're going to just take a look at the type of article that is primarily text. We will probably add a couple of images so you get an idea of how to do that in this lesson. Now, the first thing to do is give your article a title. And when you are thinking about what to call your article, there's a couple of things that you should keep in mind. One is that you can choose to display this title in your article automatically. You can choose to shut it off so that it doesn't appear, but it can also appear in your articles. So if you choose to have your titles that you create here appear in your article, you're going to want to create a good title that has good syntax and using proper language and will be appropriate for display in your article. The second thing to keep in mind is that the title is something that will appear at the very top of some browser tabs. And so you should keep in mind what you would like to appear up in the browser tab. Because whatever you type in here is by default what's going to show up here. Now, it is possible to swap that out with customized text, but that does take extra effort. By default, whatever you type in your title is what's going to show up in your browser tab. Okay, and one more thing to keep in mind is that search engines pay huge attention to titles. And so as you're thinking in your mind what you should call your article, just keep in mind that this is one of the things that the search engines really look at when they scan your site, when they crawl your site. So with all of that in mind, come up with a title that will work for all of those three things and can also kind of describe what your article is going to be about. The first one that I think that we'll do here, on our old site, we have a leading article, which I think I will maybe just make a few changes and also bring in as a lead article on our new site. And so I think that's the first one we'll go with. And I'm pretty happy with the title of it, so that's what I'm going to use. All right, and then the next field here, the alias field, you can type in information here if you like. However, Joomla will automatically fill this in for you based on what you have typed in the title field. And the basic reason for this alias, if you want to read more about this or any item for that matter, Joomla has these explanations as you hover over the item. Basically what it is that some browsers, some computers may not like it when you have spaces in between your words. And yet we want to create a title that looks good grammar-wise and spelling-wise and presentation-wise. But for computers that read it, Joomla will create a version of this title that has the underscores in between the spaces so that it is more computer friendly. And this alias actually will show up in your URL as well if you have the search engine friendly URLs turned on. So that was probably more information than you were wanting to know, but that's the story behind the alias. Category. Here's where we can choose what category to put this article into, and I think I'll drop this in featured articles, and then we can start entering our article. And the article window, right now we are using the JCE editors. So if you are using the default editor that came with Joomla, you should probably switch this to JCE, because we're going to be doing some things with our articles that are going to be a lot easier for you to follow along with if you have the same editor that we're using here. That's the JCE editor. If you haven't downloaded it, it's available on the internet. I believe we showed you where to get that in a previous tutorial. And then once you've got it installed on your Joomla, you need to go to Site and Global Configuration and choose the default editor to be the JCE editor. And the JCE editor, you're not stuck with this small window that you're given. You can drag this out to make it much larger to work with at any point. You can either just start typing in your article in the space here, and it works very much like a word processing program, has many of the same features that you would find in a word processing program. In fact, there's probably more features here than some word processors to help you relate to using it for the internet. But another option that you have, rather than take the time to enter your text inside your Joomla backend, you can write your articles at your leisure using your own word processor that you're comfortable with, and then simply copy paste the text into the window. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to copy paste the text. Actually, I copied it from the old website, brought it into my word processor, and updated the article a little bit. Just one little trick that you might find is helpful when you're copy pasting from your word processor, and that is that some word processors have a lot of hidden codes that can actually make their way over into your Joomla article. You don't necessarily see them. They'll be hidden in the source code, but it has the potential to cause some problems. And so if you would just like to be assured that you don't have any hidden codes that may cause potential problems, what you can do is an intermediary step as you're copy pasting your text, and that is to open up a notepad or some other simple text editor. And just when you're copy pasting your text, first of all, just drop it into Notepad, and that will strip out all of the hidden codes, all the formatting codes. And then you can do another copy paste from Notepad. So hit copy again, Control C, and then put your cursor inside your Joomla text editor and hit the Control V to paste your text into your text editor. And once your text is in, you can format it any way that you like. By default, I believe the font size is set to come in at 10. I usually like to set that to 12. So I'm going to do select all of the text with a Control A and change my font size to 12. You can check out different types of fonts that you can use. If you have some text that you would like to bold or italicize, you just got all of the typical word processing formatting capabilities here. You can even change the color of text, highlight text, whatever you like. Now, if you do decide not to show the title here by default, like let's just maybe publish this article. And I remember in our last lesson we said there was 3 steps. That you need to create categories, create articles, and then create a menu item to show the article. Well, there's one exception to that, and I'm going to show you that right now. Let's save and close this. And now we see that showing up on our list of articles. I say list, we only have one at the moment, but this is where all of your articles will be displayed in a list. And here's that one exception to the rule of needing to create a menu item to display your content. If you feature an article, it is going to automatically display on your homepage. And it's very easy to feature an article. All you have to do is come over to this little button here that's kind of grayish. Just click on it once and that will feature your article, and by default send it to your homepage. So we could actually go up and hit View Site and see our article showing up now on the homepage of our website without having to make a menu item to show it. And you can see right now that the title that we used, let's just go back to our back end and click this on. The title that we plugged in here by default is showing up at the top of our article as a title to our article. However, if you prefer, you can shut that off, either article by article, or you can shut it off for a whole menu item or for a whole category. But here under Article Options, we can click this down, and right now, under the Show Title option, it's using the global settings. So without changing the global settings from what they are by default, Joomla is going to show this title at the top of your article. But let's say you prefer to format your titles in a different way, or possibly even use a little bit different wording than what you used in your title. Well, what you can do is change it either one by one as you make your articles, or you can set your global settings to hide the title. And if we did a save, let's just hit the save option so that we can come back to our open article. Let's go check our site now and refresh our screen. Well, for some reason that doesn't seem to work. Sometimes these options have a certain higher priority, and you need to set your settings at the higher priority level. And perhaps it has something to do with the fact that it's a featured article. I don't want to get too diverted here. Let's save this article. And once we're back to the article manager, we can go over to the options icon. Let's try setting the global setting here under articles to hide. Save that, save and close that, and now take a look at our site. And okay, that did it. That took our title away. Now our article is displaying without a title, which means that we need to supply the title. If you shut that off in options for every article, you'll need to supply a title. But this gives you the opportunity to format that title a little differently than what perhaps Joomla is giving you by default. So let's just click at the very beginning of our article here and type in the title again. And now, with our title plugged in again, let's highlight it with your mouse. And let's go up to Paragraph and choose one of the heading options. This again is, and this heading 1 or 2, or actually any of these headings, is also something that is a good option for several reasons. One, it is once again something that search engines take notice of. What is the heading of your content? What is the heading of your article? And also, if you should choose all of your titles to be the same heading, at any point in time, you can go into your Cascading style sheets and change the style of heading 2, and it will affect all of your titles throughout your whole website with just one stroke. So let's save this article and go take a look at the front end and see what it looks like. Let's just hit the save, use the save option so that we can come back to our article very easily. Let's go view our site. And we see that they're using the exact same color as the rest of the text. They've just made it a much larger font size, and looks like maybe bolded it. Well, just know that at any point in time, you can go to your cascading style sheets and very quickly and easily change the look and feel of all of the titles on all of your content, all of your articles, with one simple change. If you choose to go this method of putting in your own title and formatting it with the heading, either the heading 1 or heading 2. Okay, but as we look at this article, I think we could maybe help it out a little bit with an image. And so let's go back to our editor and add an image here. Now, if you are not quite sure how to prepare images for use on the internet, you should probably take a look at some of our other tutorials here that we have prepared. Maybe go down to image skills. And we have a number of articles here of how you can resize images either in Photoshop or in some free programs that you can get off the internet, the GIMP, in Lightroom. One really neat way of resizing images is by using Photoshop droplets. And I think that's what we'll do with this one. We've got some droplets prepared here, and we're just going to pick the shot that we want for this article. We're going to drop it into a resize droplet for 300 pixels in width. That'll open up our Photoshop, resize the image to 300 pixels in width, and now it'll show up in our folder of images that are 300 pixels in width, and it'll be ready to bring into our website. And how we can do that is right within our text editor, place the cursor where you want to position your image, and then go up to this little icon here. It looks like a picture of an ocean scene, and click on it, and go to this little icon here. Again, it looks like an ocean scene, a golden sunset ocean scene. And here we could drag and drop this image from our folder that we just resized, drag it in here, and then hit the upload button. And JCE Editor will scroll down and highlight the image that you just brought in. So click on that, and it'll show up here in a preview. And then what you should do is type in some alternate text. And there's a couple of good reasons why you should type in an alternate text here that describes the image. One is for people who are vision impaired to kind of get an idea of the image that is showing up that they can't see. And the other reason is that there may be people who are on a slow internet connection, and if the image doesn't load, at least they'll see the text that you type in here in place of the image. And so I'm going to kind of describe the image here. And now the other thing that we should take a look at is how the text is going to flow around our image. Right now, in our preview window here, we can see that what's going to happen if we just leave it like this is that the image is going to show on our website, and the text is only going to start at the very bottom of our image. But if we want that text to be flowing right from the top of our image, we need to change a couple of things here. Let's go to Alignment, and let's choose Left. Notice how the text moves up, and now the text will start near the top of our image when we publish it to our website. However, as it is right now, there's no padding between our text and our image, and it looks a little crunched in there. So let's maybe add 10 pixels of padding there. And how we can do that is just uncheck the equal values, and now you can type in a number representing the pixels of padding that you want, either at the top, right, bottom, or left of your image. And in this case, we want to do it to the right. Let's do 10 pixels. And then you'll see that previewed up here. Let's try that. Let's insert this. And let's go take a look and see what it looks like on the home page. So let's save our article. Click on our browser at the top to take us to the home page and refresh our site. and now we have an image associated with the article. So there you have it, our first lesson on Joomla articles. In our next lesson, we'll create an article that has more images and show you how you can assign it to a menu item. But for now, I believe that does it for this lesson on Joomla articles.